Good morning and welcome to Marianna High School. I'm Ms. Wiggins and I'm one of the high school counselors, and I'm today going to go over with you how we're going to select your classes for next year. You should have gotten today or one day recently, you've gotten this paper that tells you which academies that you have been selected for. Remember, you came back last month and you looked at our different academies that you were interested in and you applied to us, and you should have gotten this letter letting you know which academies you have been accepted into. And you'll notice with our student John here, John was accepted into the Agritech, the Culinary, and the Health Science programs. Now, just because John was allowed or selected to come into these programs doesn't mean that John has to sign up for them. This just lets John know what he can sign up for. Okay, so we're going to set this aside. Make sure that you have that available, and understand that if you were not selected for the program, you cannot select it on your course selection paper a little bit later on. All right, so now you have a course selection paper, and this is what we're going to be looking at for the next few minutes. You're going to be selecting 7 classes, and also you're going to select 2 alternates. The alternates are there in case when you select your classes, some things just don't quite fit into your schedule. Maybe you have selected a class that's only offered one time in the day, and that's when you've got to have something else that's only offered one time in the day. Or maybe a class doesn't make, or we have to shut down a class. Sometimes things just happen we can't be prepared for. So we have the alternates up there. Alternates are classes that you have not circled down here as part of your 7 courses. So keep that in mind. All right, so let's look and see what we're going to select here. We're going to look first of all at the English classes, and we have available English 1, English 1 Honors. So you would select one of these classes, either regular or honors classes, and then you'll select a math class. And again, we have Algebra 1, Algebra 1 Honors, Honors Geometry, and also Algebra 1A. Algebra 1A we're going to reserve for our students who have a rather difficult time in math. Usually scoring around a level 1 on FCAT math classes. Algebra 1A is going to be basically the first semester of Algebra 1 spread out over a complete school year. So it's going to go at half the pace. Then in the 10th grade you would take Algebra 1B, which would complete your algebra requirement. And at that point, at the end of 10th grade, at the end of Algebra 1B, you would take the end of course assessment. So make sure that you're conferring with your teachers to make sure that you're selecting which class that you're going to be taking with math. Make sure also that with Honors Geometry, you will have already completed Honors Algebra 1. That is a prerequisite for taking the Honors Geometry class. So make sure that you've already completed it before you begin the Honors Geometry. So if you did not take Algebra 1 this year as an 8th grader, you would need to take Algebra 1 as a 9th grader and not the Honors Geometry. Okay, and the next thing we're going to look at is the science. And we've got, again, both honors and regular biology. So again, select whether honors or regular. Honors classes with generally, if you're wanting to take an honors class, these are students who have scored definitely 4s and 5s on the FSA scores. Some of the upper level 3s can jump up into that honors classes, but it is going to be a lot harder work. So again, talk with your parents, talk with your teachers, and look at their recommendations for you on that. The next thing we're going to look at are the physical education requirements. Notice here that we've got the first thing listed is the PE and personal fitness. The PE personal fitness, both of those classes last 1 semester, and they're both required for graduation. The personal fitness is an online class. You have to have an online class to graduate from high school, and our personal fitness meets that requirement. So if you're going to take the personal fitness PE together in combination during your 9th grade year, you would select that, make that first selection over there on the left-hand side. The next one is PE for both semesters. Maybe you're not going to be in personal fitness. You want to wait and take that another year or over the summer, and we'll talk about that in just a minute. But you would select PE both semesters. Then we also have PE Driver's Ed. PE Driver's Ed is there for if you're wanting to take Driver's Ed, you're 15 already. Also make sure that you'll notice you can take the personal fitness driver's ed together in combination, but underneath that it says the day that I turned 15. In order to take driver's ed, you have to already be 15 and already have your learner's permit. You'll have to talk to the Department of Motor Vehicles to get your learner's permit and find out what's required for that. In order to take driver's ed in this fall, you would have to be 15 by September the 15th of this year. And then to take it in the spring, you would need to be 15 by January of next year, or January of this coming year. So make sure you're putting on there when you turn 15. So we'll make sure that you're in driver's ed during the correct semester, that you're eligible in order to take that class. The next one down there you're going to see is the athletic PE. Athletic PE is limited, so make sure that just because you play a sport doesn't mean that you're automatically going to be in the athletic PE. Make sure that you're getting on the list with your coach. We have athletic PE for football, baseball, softball, and boys basketball only. Again, make sure that you're on the list. If you're not on the list, then we're not going to place you in that class. We'll put you over in just a regular PE class, not for athletes. Over on the right-hand side, you're going to see some semester classes. Notice over here that we've got some classes listed by themselves: the PE in the gym, the personal fitness, and the driver's ed. And this is in case you want to take one of these classes, not in combination with each other, but maybe you want to take them in combination with an academic class like we have down here at the bottom on the left-hand side. And we'll talk about those in just a minute as well. But if you want to take the PE with one of these classes, then you would circle the PE or driver's ed or personal fitness from the top right-hand side, and then also you would select that academic class from over at the bottom. Make sure that if you're selecting these one semester classes, that you've got them in groups of 2, one for first semester, one for second semester. If you have a third one out there by itself, we still have to put something behind it. We don't have just study hall, you have to have a class. So make sure that you've got them in combination with something, or we'll be selecting a class for you to have behind it. So make sure you're selecting what you want. The next thing that we're looking at is a performing fine art requirement. Notice that some of our classes that are academy classes do meet performing fine art requirements, so keep that in mind.
Sorry.
Some of our CTE classes meet the performing fine art requirements, so keep that in mind when you're selecting the performing fine art. Notice that I have them grouped over here. The performing fine arts are together. Some of them you have to have approval, some of them no. So if you have approval to be in that class, you can select it. If you don't have approval in there, then you can select from just the general classes up there that can meet the performing fine art requirement for you. And then the last things you're going to select are classes 6 and 7, and these are classes that you get to choose from anywhere. It can be another performing fine art class. It can be just anything in general that you might want to select on there. Some things that I need you to be aware of when you start selecting is if you're taking, or if you've been a level 1 historically in FSA reading, then you do need to go ahead and sign up for intensive reading as one of those 2 classes, the 6 and 7 at the end. You're also going to want to make sure that you're selecting CTE courses that you have been approved for. So let's look again at John, and we saw that John was selected for the Agritech program. So he could choose the Agritech program over here as one of his 6 and 7 classes, and he would select Agriculture Foundation, which is over here under the CTE classes that he was approved for. So it's a year-long class, and it just counts as one class only. Then he was also selected for both culinary and health science. So notice that both of those, the health science, he would sign up for first aid, and the culinary for food prep, and that would take up 2 classes right there. So John's schedule might be English 1, Algebra 1, Biology, then the agriculture, which would be class number 4. Let me start over on that.
Okay, we can cut
yeah. So what John's schedule might look like, he would have the English for his English class, he would have math, and then the biology, and then he would take PE personal fitness right here, so that would be class 4. For class 5, for performing fine art, he might want to select speech, and that would work for him since he was not selected into engineering classes. If he had been selected into engineering, he could select that as his performing fine art. For classes 6 and 7, that would be his agri-science foundation, and then the first aid and food prep together would count for one class. So that would give him his 7 classes that he needs for his classes for next year. Then he would again list 2 alternates up here in case something happens where we cannot get something in his schedule exactly like he wants. So make sure that you're talking with your parents, you're talking with your teachers, and making selections that's going to be best for you so that you're successful when you come to Marianna High School. Thank you. Have a great day.